Going live.
We're live. We did it successfully. We're unlocking your million, or you're unlocking your millions. We're just showing you how.
We are definitely unlocking millions. I have no doubt about that one. That's, we're showing them all how to do it, how to make it happen, all sorts of fun stuff. And we're live, which always makes it fun and exciting.
And okay, can I talk about a really cool experience that I feel like it was cool because within our community, we have a bunch of people that are currently in our community and in the Truth Bomb community. Let's be specific about that. And this week we had a training. It's called Time Magic, where we literally are helping women create their week before it happens. This is one of the things that I've learned, that if I want to be successful in my life, I have to actually make some sort of plan for what am I going to do? How is this going to work? And then if it doesn't work out that way, kind of letting go and seeing what happens kind of thing. So, anyways, so this week during Time Magic, I was just sharing some things that I have experienced and I've seen other people experience as well, as far as changing how they're responding in certain situations. Yeah. So an example of this is maybe you're in your business and you're going, I am so freaking frustrated, or I am so anxious. I don't have enough time, whatever it is that you're telling yourself. And actually noticing the thought, because most of us don't notice the thought. Most of us are like, we had the thought, it's subconscious or conscious, don't really know, had the thought, but I just kept going with my day. Didn't really pay attention to it. But the moment you notice it, that's magic right there. You notice the thought and the feeling that's connected. And then when you notice it, then you can actually do something about it. And you can say, I can continue to feel this way, or I can reinsert a new thought pattern in there that actually feels true for me. So this week in Time Magic, I shared some things that I have personally done whenever I start to feel anxious in any way, shape, or form. Like, really, my thought pattern is I don't have enough time. I need more time in my day. And when I notice I start to feel that way, I started to insert everything will get done in its time. Yeah. So I shared that this week. And one of our members was like, I had a huge aha moment because I did that this week. And she's like, I felt so much better. And the beautiful thing is that I did get everything done. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be so far behind. This thing happened in my life, wasn't anticipating it. And instead of feeling anxious, I went, okay, everything happens in its perfect time. I let it go, because that's the piece of the puzzle that's not easy. Think the thought and then let it go and feel the feelings of, okay, what happens. Like, this is life. It's cool. Like, let's see what happens. Like, let's not be so rigid about how things have to be. And what she said is that she felt so much better. She didn't feel the overwhelm of, oh my God, I have to get all this stuff done. And, oh, I can't believe this thing happened. And she started to actually sink into the fact, well, things will get done when they get done. Like, everything happens in its perfect time. She said she still got everything done in her day and she didn't have the anxiety that she would have in the past. That's a huge breakthrough.
It's massive. It is. And it is, because I think so many women, and this is every woman I've met, and even though some of the guys, especially entrepreneurs, right? We freak out. And I have to tell myself this also. It's like, everything's going to happen when it's supposed to happen. And that's a hard place to be, because you really feel like you're letting people down. Things aren't getting done in the time frame they're going to get done. And I love this, because this just shows like what we're doing inside of Unlocking My Millions is really helping women shift. And that's the biggest part. Like, Time Magic, I love the fact that we do it the week before. Like, we do it on Saturdays, so it helps women set up their week. I know we use very specific words. We stop using the word goal setting.
Yeah.
Right.
That feels goal gross. Setting,
it does. And it puts an expectation on women that is really hard for them to accomplish, because it just is that to-do list. Like, here's a goal you have to reach, right, by this certain time. Like, that whole SMART method, in some respects good, some respects terrible.
Well, here's my problem with SMART goals is I don't have a problem with the first SMAR, but when you get to the time piece, that creates anxiety. I'm sorry, but if I say something's going to happen at a certain time, I would love that for that to happen. But if I just go, okay, like I set the time and I can let it go. Most people can't set the time and then let it go.
Right.
Like for me, that's the piece of SMART goals that makes me want to die inside because it's like, it's not about the feeling anymore. It's like, oh my God, like the feeling is the anxiety that it didn't happen.
Well, and then the worst part behind that is then they build time management into that T piece, right? So now you have this time limit, and then they tell you how to manage your time based on getting that project done in that amount of time, right? And this is very corporate, by the way. This is very corporate structure type of thing.
Absolutely.
And yet they're teaching it to entrepreneurship. In the world of entrepreneurship, this doesn't exist. Like to hold yourself accountable, especially in the beginning parts of your business. As you get more structure in there, things starts to shift a little bit. But I think culturally, in terms of business, we've put so much on, produce more, faster, bigger, better, that we've stopped slowing down and letting the process naturally happen in the time it needs. Like we're forcing everything to be here now in this second. And
take all your creative juices out of it.
Yeah. The thing that I have learned through my practice of manifestation and what that actually means is that if you want something to happen, you have to let it go. One of the best books that talks about this, in my opinion, is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Like, it is so good at being like, listen, I have this intention. If it doesn't happen, okay, it will eventually. Like, you continue to have the intention, you're moving towards the goal. And what happens when you let go of stuff like that, it is weird what starts to come into your life because you're like, holy shit, I wasn't expecting that to happen. An example of this for me, there was like a whole like money manifestation that happened yesterday. So we were driving home from Disney, actually, because we have friends in town right now and we were going back and forth to Disney at the moment. And we were on the highway, got hit by a pretty sizable rock that chipped our windshield. We looked at it and we're like, oh, we can probably get this fixed. That's not too bad. And then we looked at how much it was going to cost to get it fixed. $250. And we were like, oh God, that kind of sucks. But I guess we got to eat it because in Florida, especially this time of year, the temperatures are going up and down, just like anywhere else in the world. And so the more the temperature goes up and down, the more possibility that that's going to continue to grow on the windshield. So we're like, let's get it fixed ASAP. So yesterday we bring it in to get it looked at. The guy's like, hey, listen, what might happen is that while we're repairing this, we might chip it or crack it more. That's a possibility.
Yep.
So he goes, he does this thing, comes back 10 minutes later, and he's like, so the bad news is that we broke, like your windshield is now completely cracked. And we're like, oh no, what does that mean? And he was like, so to replace a windshield, it's now $550. But here's the fun thing. Okay. So the fun thing is that in Florida with car insurance, you get one free windshield replacement every year.
Yep.
Every year.
Every year.
Wow.
Every year.
Nice.
So had we just replaced the chip, we would have had to pay $250. But now our insurance is covering it. So that $250 bill now went to absolutely jack squat.
Yep.
Nice.
Like if I had held on in that moment and been like, oh my God, I can't believe we have to spend $250 and freaked out about it. I don't know if that situation would have panned out the way that it did. When I let go of the situation and went, you know what, like it happened. This is just part of the fun. Like, let's figure out how to make this work. Instead of looking at life as this is one big problem, why not look at it as this is a game? Let's play a game and see how much fun we can have with it. And when you look at your business like that, buckle up, Buttercup, because some fun stuff is literally on your way. When you go, oh my God, I have this bill. or I have this deadline, or I have this that I need to get done. And you go, you know what? I'm going to do the best I can, and then I'm going to let it go. When you do that and you actually let it go and you feel the feeling of letting it go and then going, what could happen with this? So much possibility opens up inside your world. Yeah. It's cool. Very cool.
And I'll tie that back into time magic again, because I think this is a really good start for this, is that so many women really do struggle with the time. And like we were talking about, it's like time is the big piece of this. And then the systems that we have out there just reinforce this anxiety. Time blocking. Oh my God. Every time I hear one talk about time blocking, especially when you're at different seasons in your life. If you have kids, learning to time block with a 2-year-old is almost impossible. Why would you do that to yourself?
Yeah, that's like, oh my God.
Right? Why would you do that to yourself?
You're asking for a temper tantrum.
Right? Yeah, you are.
Not just from the 2-year-olds.
Yeah. Right? For freaking sake, right? So they give all of these like methodologies for like building this business. But what we discovered, especially for women, and I love the fact that we're using a specific planner, right? We're using a planner and we're still having to reimagine it, right? In terms of language, in terms of words, in terms of questions that are being asked, in terms of accountability. What we did is we removed the whole goal setting phrase and we put everything with what is your intention? Because when we started looking at, and this is something that keeps coming up, and I swear to you, it's like everywhere around me. It's like, what is your intention? And the more I'm hearing this from different entrepreneurs, it's actually starting to become more of the conversation that's happening in the background. So we're bringing it to the foreground from you. These are all like the whispers that happen behind closed doors. And it's less about what is your goal and more about what is your intention. And we really focused in for women about what is your intention for this week, because when we have you like lay out your week and you actually have to write it down, there's actually really a powerful way that when you write it down, you actually remember what's going on. And the fact is that you start to see where things overlap or where things possibly cross over, and you're giving yourself enough time to either make the call to get it, change the date, change the time, make a call with somebody and see if you can get a meeting moved. You look at your life holistically, and what gives you, when you do that as a woman, it gives you a peace of mind. Because usually what happens as a female entrepreneur, at least for me, was that I didn't have any control of my calendar because I wanted to be spontaneous, because I'm an entrepreneur and I should have a spontaneous life, right? That was my belief and reasoning. And so I didn't want to write anything down because it wouldn't allow me to have the freedom that I want and having build this life that I want, right? Yeah, this is all worked out in my head perfectly. And
I love it. I love what we tell ourselves.
Yeah, I know. It's fantastic.
Well, and then all of a sudden you're in this like, catastrophe mode, right? Now I'm trying to manage a crisis. I now have to tell this person I'm going to be late to them because I have this other commitment that I can't give up. And it's too short of notice to do this. And that's that whole anxiety and stress and frustration that we put on ourselves.
Yeah.
And
no freedom there.
There's zero freedom. But I thought, I have freedom. I have all this time to do what I want because I'm not committed or tied down to anything. I've left corporate America. This is supposed to be my time freedom, right? Bullshit. So I call myself out on that one. And then, so when I started taking control of my calendar and actually creating those important meetings, putting in what actually needs to get done based on I had to put breakfast on there or lunch on there. There was times on my calendar that I was working right through dinner. So I had to start blocking dinner hour on my calendar.
I would be at their apartment and I'd be like, guys, I am starving. I need to eat. And they're both like working away. And I'm like, I need to eat now. And they're like, well, we're not hungry. I'm like, listen, Linda, this isn't going to work for me.
Yeah. I mean, literally, I do. I have it on my computer. It pops up. It says lunchtime and then it pops up dinner time. And it's to remind myself to eat, or that there's those moments. And most of the time, that had to become something I had to set in my calendar, because otherwise it wasn't happening. Right. And those are those things that you have to start putting in, like really what's important to you. And if your health is important, then you have to put health in. If you have to do different things, then you want to set those intentions on your calendar, and then look at where are you honoring your intention, and then where are you not honoring your intention? Where are you giving your word to yourself? And then where are you lying to yourself? Because we do lie to ourselves. I don't know a single person that doesn't lie to themselves. Like, oh yeah, I'll totally get up at 6 a.m. in the morning and go to the gym. That's the biggest bullshit lie I could ever tell myself. I know I'm not going to do that. Like that idea just is not my idea of a good time, right?
We have talked about it.
We have talked about it so many times, and it's like I'll roll over and be like 7. 7 sounds better. Right?
When we talk about it, it's usually like noon, and then we talk. But what time we getting up tomorrow? It's like the 6. 6 just doesn't sound so good anymore.
Yeah, no, I'm not really in that. That's not my happy time, right? So it's just like it's learning yourself in this process. And what I love about this is as we do more and more with Time Magic and Unlocking My Millions, we discover and we unlock something else about our personality. We unlock something else, and this is the journey that women are on, and it's vastly different than the male counterparts, right? We are really stepping into this world of entrepreneurship. Though we've had successful women as entrepreneurs, the world that's opened up to us has only been available for about 60 years, right? In terms of that. And I was actually, I wrote an email the other day and I was kind of looking up just to make sure I had my facts right. And I was like, holy crap, we've only been able to open a bank account without our husband's signature or somebody else's signature since like the last 50 years. It was 1974 that women had the right to open up a bank account without any approval. Less than 50 years. We're just about to hit the 50-year mark. That's not even a generation of women, right? That have had any concept of how money moves, because we've been and this is why I think when I tie back into another, the podcast that we did, this was my bitch rant complaint, when it says women do more with very little, it's because we've always been given just enough to get by. Here's the household money. Here's the grocery money. So we've always been in that mindset of stretching things. But dear God, what would happen if women became unlocked and didn't have that mindset anymore? What if we stopped accepting just enough and actually reached into the world of abundance and actually created businesses with that financial and that mindset? Like, what would the world freaking look like?
Yeah. I mean, look at who, like you say, the man is the head of the household. And listen, guys, if this is how you live your life, I'm not trying to bash this. I'm just saying, like, a lot of cultures are like, man is the head of the household. But when you look at it, who's actually running the day to day?
The woman.
Let's be honest. Like, let's be honest. Women really, truly are, in a lot of cases, doing that. Now, yes, there are exceptions. I would definitely call myself an exception, because my husband is friggin' awesome. I call him my Martha Stewart. But at the end of the day, in a lot of cases, women are truly running the day-to-day experience of what's happening with the family. And so, like, that we can't overlook anymore. Women are so good at looking at things from a nurturing, how do I take care of everyone perspective. And what I feel like that's missing in business. I feel like that is something that women can massively bring to this world of business. And like you said, Katrina, we would have just a complete change in culture of what's going on currently.
Yeah. So we had a conversation yesterday with 2 amazing women, right? What was like that for you? What did you hear in that conversation?
It was really cool because I mean they're in the business world with serving a community, and it was just, but they were just fascinated about how the approach that we had, because they talk about a business plan and a lot of the same things that we talk about, but when we brought in about the women's mindset and how we are fundamentally different than men, they were just like, that is a whole new concept. Like they just never even thought about it before. And it was like, and these are 2 women, and they were like, but it makes so much sense. And it was just like, they were fascinated by the different ways that we're taking a look at how women are building businesses. And I do think it's fascinating too, like Karen, how you talk about how women do run the day to day. And it's like, and I know it's like, and it's like, and we've kind of grew up in the same mindset about as far as the man is the head of the household. And they were always approached it like, it's not, excuse me, but that the man took the responsibility. So even though it's like you run the same the day-to-day, the end of the day, the buck stops with the man. And I think that just demeans a lot of what women do.
Absolutely.
It's like they approach it as we're protecting you.
Yeah.
And I think the way it actually somehow affects us is that it demeans what we do.
Yes.
And it makes us not take, not that we don't take responsibility, but it minimizes the impact that we have on the world, because they're saying it's like the actual impact is the man's.
Right.
And it's like, really?
Yeah. Wait a second.
Like, but it's like everything that we do. So I think our mindset is so demoralized because of that. And that we don't see the value that we are to our families, to the world, to our communities around us, because they've come back and they've always said was like, well, the buck stops with the man. I was like,
okay.
Well, but that's part of culture. Like, I know when we were talking to these incredible women, you know, she says, you have a lot to unpack around mindset, around money and business. And I said, that's why this has to be created.
Yeah.
Right. Unlocking My Millions really, it needed to come to life because it is a different perspective for women. It is changing, and it is asking women to really step into who they are as a woman. Right. Yeah. Celebrate you, for crying out loud, right? Celebrate having a vagina, celebrate having boobs, celebrate having hormones and being emotional and being different than your male counterparts, right? Like, holy crap, these are all beautiful things. And we've been told that we keep minimizing this over and over again for women. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I'm tired of women accepting or laying down, as terrible as that sounds, and letting this conversation, you know, happen in the world. So the only way that I really feel like we can shift it is by giving women back a training and business mindset that is designed for women.
Yeah.
That business planning that we came up with, their playbook, the whole, like when we talked about this with these ladies, they're like, you have a whole business plan. I said, yeah, we took the tradition. And we looked at it and said, okay, what doesn't work for women?
Right.
That was literally our mindset. We sat there and said, what doesn't work for women? And even though our business mentors have been men over the years, we challenged a lot of what we said. So that doesn't make sense to us.
Yeah.
Hello. Right. That doesn't make sense to us. It's like, but it does. It's like, no, it doesn't. But we kept bumping up against that wall. That was like, no, like, you have to do it our way because this is what's proven to work. And we're like, no, there's a way that women can do this that actually is more efficient, saves us time, increases our income, and benefits more people.
And makes us feel good, which is way more important than any of it. We feel good in the process. And when we feel good, we create more than, shall I say, the men. Like, let's be honest, like, the thing that you said, Katrina, that's so true is, yes, as females, we are emotionally charged, run, whatever, however you want to say it. And men sometimes will look at that and be like, why do you need that? And it's like, listen, if you want to manifest, like, look at anybody that teaches manifestation. They will tell you the most important thing is how you feel on a moment to moment basis, because the feeling is what creates the manifestation. So if you're looking at your business from a completely logical, I can't have feelings perspective, you can grow a business. Yeah. But you can grow a business. I'm not going to say you can't, but what happens when you put your emotion and your love into it, something magical happens. And that's when the impossible happens. I mean, you could go back to cooking with this too. Yeah. When somebody says, I poured my love into this, it tastes better. I don't know what it is, but there's something about that frequency, that energy that creates something magical with what you're eating, with what the chef has created. I mean, this is like, you can look at anything. When you put the emotion and the love and compassion into it, it creates magic.
Well, and I love that you said that, because we were at a vendor event this past weekend, and I met a lady that does all of her knitting, and she knits just beautiful things. Shawls, sweaters, everything. And she does it because she loves it. And you can see it in her work. Like it literally reflects in the work. It's not just something that's off the shelf. It's something that she takes pride in. She knows every stitch that she put in there. She knows every thing she had to unravel to redo that, right? She knows the yarn that she used and why she used it, what she was wanting to, you know, create with that.
Right.
And the beautiful thing is women do create incredible things. And then I had another lady next to us. And she was like, yeah, she's like, I love building candles. She's like, this for me is my therapy. It's my passion. I love how it makes me feel. I love the process. And I said, you know, and I was talking with her about some of her packaging. She goes, yeah. She's like, I considered, you know, how much is it going to cost, because I don't want to overcharge in shipping for my customers. So I looked at how packaging needed to be designed, and like her brain, it wasn't just about that product. As women, we don't look at just the product. We actually looked at how is it going to be delivered? How is it going to be received? How's it going to feel in your hand? And we have such a holistic approach to our business, which doesn't exist in the traditional male business planning process. It's not holistic. It's like this, and then this, and then this, and make sure you have your KPIs. And then make sure you do your SWOT analysis, and then make sure you check everything yet again. Make sure your numbers line up, and then go do a business. Here's your point A to get to point B. Your job is to sell this and then move on with your life. Women are like, oh no.
That feels horrible.
That sounds terrible. I want to actually connect relations, not have strategic partners. I want to learn how to help other people and create things, because this is the one thing we butt up against as women, is that we do really care about helping other people. And
those emotions.
And the piece of it that we're really working with women inside of the Unlocking My Millions is how to not value yourself for like what you've been told, right? Around how much you're worth or how much money you should receive. But we do ask in this moment to really look at what's it costing you to run your business? And then what is it that you want to get paid? Right? Because that's really where you're going to have to look at this. So when you look at this, it is a number systems, and numbers don't lie. And it's so funny because I'm teaching food costing right now in class, because I picked up working with some high school kids and just kind of see what's out there. And it's so funny how much that math parallels a business math, right? You want to make profit. So the whole thing is like, what does it cost you? And then how much money do you actually want to make? So they times a percentage, right? What we teach inside, and we're doing this tomorrow, actually tonight, we are diving in. So if you guys really want to get into this financial and money conversation tonight, I absolutely invite you to come in.
And Heidi crushes this, by the way. You are a genius. So kudos.
So if you really want to learn how to unlock money and how to learn how to get profit first and how to pay yourself first, and really build a business that doesn't suck the money out of you. And these are things that we had to learn also, by the way. Like we're just ahead of you in this whole process, because it is a new approach to money management, but it's actually one that makes more sense for how women have been creating budgets and running their household expenses and things like that. Like this really is like, oh, that's kind of what I normally do anyways, right? So, but it was just really interesting how we look at money, how we definitely need a different perspective around that. And I love the fact that we're teaching this tonight. So if you want in, go to truthbombmarketing.com and come in and unlock your millions with us, right? This conversation is super powerful, and everything we've done up to this point. And there is a process. A business plan is not a one and done by all means. And that's the one thing we know, is that women need a different type of business plan. And then you actually are going to continue to need the support, just like we need the support, as we're going to continue to bump up against the traditional, and then have to come back and go, okay, I need a reset here. And that is so critical for women, is like, you need your rest. You need to understand your cycle and how you work and how you run your business and how you have your life and everything else. And that is the holistic approach that's been removed. But when we bring this back to the business world as women, and we actually bring this into the male business structure, we actually create more harmony and balance between our businesses. And that's really what the guys are asking for this, right? They've been asking, like, every time I talk to a businessman, anyone that's successfully built a business, I get this, I would love to go through that training for myself just to better understand how I can help women succeed. Like there are a majority, I would say majority of really good men out there in the business world that know they're struggling to help women get to success because they don't know how to speak the female language. We do
Well,
have
at the end of the day,
yeah.
at the end of the day too, like I said earlier, I think that these concepts would help even men have exponentially more, because you're creating with the KPIs and the what are my numbers saying and all that. You're absolutely creating. But when you manifest from a higher level of energy, you start at a certain place where you're like, I feel like this in my business, but you start to stair step and you start to feel good every day about your business. Your business literally creates magic. And literally in my life, especially this year, I feel like, because I've really dug in this year to be like, what can I manifest? What can I create? I am not kidding you when I say money shows up out of God knows where. I have no idea how that happened, but it's in my account. So I'm going to say thank you and move on. Or I don't have to pay for a windshield, or XYZ happened. And this is like, we now have money for this. Like, it's not even just money either. It's other things as well. Yeah. So it's just magic starts to happen when you actually look at your business from that. How am I thinking and how am I feeling from those thoughts that I'm thinking? It's a game changer. It creates so much.
Yeah. And it's the women. The thing is I will say is that there's always going to be a difference between men and women. And yet what we need is us working together. Yeah. And right now, when you suppress one or rise up over the other, you create this unbalance. And so really at this moment in time, there's this beautiful space for all of us as women to really choose to create balance and be part of balancing the system and not trying to demean, demoralize, minimize anything. Right. And it's on both sides, right? Both sides don't demean or demoralize either one of each other, and allow for each of us to bring our own greatness to the table. And then look, how do we balance that? How do we make sure that both of these work in unison together? Because that for me is the unmagic locking of everything. If you want to change the world, if you want to, really make mass movements happen, it takes both of us working together, but you can't minimize one or the other. Yeah. You have to allow that growth. And the fun thing is about this is that, women are in a place of play for the first time, because we've had at least 60 years of being in this world. And we've tried on what we've been told around business and marketing and money. And we're like, this is great. It does work. It just doesn't feel right. And that feeling that we have out there right now is what's really driving so many women. I am so proud of all the women out there that are saying, we need to help more women succeed. And all of us are really in a conversation about what needs to shift or change. And some of us are still taking the old modeling system and just putting a female in front of it. And that doesn't quite work yet. Right. But you're in the right direction. Like, I applaud you for heading in the right direction. What we have to look at as female entrepreneurs and what we're creating in our businesses is understanding that women have a different approach and celebrating that different approach, not as a good or bad, but just as something different that needs to get tested out, because we're really in the failure place for women. And what I mean is that this is our first attempt in learning. This is our first attempt in learning how to create a woman's business plan. This is our first attempt in really understanding what we're bringing to the table, not as competitiveness, but a cohesiveness, right? And so inside of that, we're just having fun. Oh my God, we brought coloring books back in. We're talking about, sitting for like that call that we were supposed to be on where we met these two women. It was supposed to be 15 minutes, maybe 30. It was an hour and 15 minutes because we could not talk to each other. We're like, so why do you do this in your business? Because we're asking her about podcasting. And they do like series of podcasts. And I was like, why do you do that? And I wanted to get their perspective. And then I asked about, a different question for them. And so we were just like sharing information back and forth. But those are the nuggets that get unlocked when you get into side Unlocking My Millions, because you get access to women that you can ask these questions like, why are you doing it this way? Why are you doing it that way? And then find the balance that works for you. Yeah. And I think that is so important when women come together and collaborate around their ideas and the tools and the systems that we're using, really starts to change the game for all of us. Honestly, that's what I love. I'm just so excited with all the little I feel like every single one of us holds a little piece to the puzzle that can unlock another woman. And so it takes women coming together, because I feel like we can unlock each other by giving those little pieces and nuggets and sharing how we feel and our passion for what we're doing. And then that helps us really like fall in love with what we're doing, and then gives us the grace when we fall down, fall off, cry. Right.
There's crying. There's crying in business.
Right.
There is a lot of crying in business. I'm
Sometimes
sorry.
it's cries of joy. Sometimes it's cries of what happened.
What am I doing? Yeah.
There's all kinds of crying.
Frustration, anger, laughter, joy, bliss, like all of it. And we want women to feel comfortable having that and expressing those emotions, because it's okay. Like sometimes you just need a hug.
Yeah.
That's it. And we get that as women because we intuitively read our body language. We understand, we can see, we can hear those things. And that's what makes us really unique and really excited to have more women step up and unlock their millions.
It is. It is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. So, with that, are we calling this a wrap?
We'll call this a wrap.
Wrapping up?
She's laughing. Is that the wrapping up? That's
we're going to wrap it up.
I feel like we're making pizza.
I mean, that's wrapping up. That's like hand moving. That's like actually getting.
Now we're really making. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You gotta keep your hands loose. You gotta go like this, because otherwise you put holes in it. If you go like this, you put holes in pizza. Did you know that? Squish crusts. Yep. It's terrible. Terrible. Yeah. All right. With that, love you all. Thank you guys all for joining us here on Truth Bomb. Oh yeah, give us a thumbs up. There's a thumbs up thing down below.
Thumb wrestling.
And we also have a link for unlocking my millions. If you're ready to unlock your millions, your million ideas, your $1 million, your million moments of joy in your business, you probably want to join us for that. So there's a link below this video also where you can grab that as well.
Join us tonight. We're talking about cash, money, profit.
Ooh. I like it.
Ooh. We went full Toy Story on that one.
Right there. Definitely. All right. So again, follow us over at truthbombmarketing.com. Learn more about unlocking your millions. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and join us every Tuesday as we go live, having some amazing conversations with you about being a female entrepreneur and unlocking your millions. Talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.